So, anyways, the beginning. The beginning of what? The beginning of a song I wrote called Exit 48. Today I'm going to share the story of how I met my wife. Right after I fixed that camera a little bit. And get the endoscope out of the way here. Endoscope. What's that for? It doesn't matter what it's for. Anyways, I should get this cord on my feet here so I can trip myself up. So sometimes I do silly things, like I say, oh, I'm going to go live, and I'm not ready to do that, but it kind of forces me to do it, you know? I always wait a little time at the first anyways. Then my cousin Karen doesn't get so mad at me because I don't give her time to get to the computer. And I'd like to shut this light off, probably. But I had to write a few notes today. I think the hand's going to take it. So right now I'm going to sing the song, and then I'm going to explain the song, and I'll explain, get a little light here, see? After the song, I'll explain the song, and I'll explain the events of how I met my wife. Not the TV show, but how I actually came to meeting my wife and moving to the United States and all that stuff. So stick around and you can hear it. But for now, without a warm-up or anything like that, or even singing one note, this morning, it's a Sunday morning, January 20-something maybe. Hopefully it's not Jason McIsaac's birthday. I'm going to have to double check on that because I'm not sure of the day. But here's a song called Exit 48. Just a little white lie I told her that day. Said I was going to Boston, I was headed her way. So many nights spent on the phone. Feelings like these can't be left alone. A brown-haired beauty waiting on fate. Down 495 at exit 48. She was still there waiting when I was 3 hours late. Down 495 at exit 48. The day we got married, the rain came and made it all right. Our friends and our families came and danced into the night. I know I'll be with her for the rest of my life. I know I'll be with her for the rest of my life. We were much too young to know it was fate. Four years later, she was 3 months late. And up until that moment, I never knew what was love. Now there's a baby girl, a beautiful life. Brown-haired beauty waiting on fate. Down 495 at exit 48. She was still there waiting when I was 3 hours late. Down 495, way down 495. Down 495 at exit 48. Exit 48. Exit 48. So there's the song called Exit 48. The reason I'm doing all these videos, well, I'm not sure how long I'm not sure how long I can remember them for, you know? But the story all starts off with sitting around the kitchen table with my brother Daryl and my sister Sue, looking at pictures. Thank God for old pictures that you used to be able to go get printed off, people all actually had photo albums, you know. Lucky for us, my brother, who is an amazing photographer in his own right, you know, takes amazing pictures. I wish he would teach me how to do it. But I'm lucky enough that he shares them. But we were sitting at the table, looking at pictures, and there was a picture that I didn't recognize anybody in the picture. I'm like, who's this? And my brother said, oh, that's Tamara and her friend. There was like probably 6 people in the picture, and I'm like, well, who's that guy? And camera was falling a little bit there. But anyways, I said, yeah, who's that guy there? And they're like, oh, that's Jesse. I'm like, oh, who's he? And they're like, oh, no, that's a girl. Well, in the picture, Jessie, who's my wife for the last over 20 years, she had a short haircut and a pair of cool sunglasses on and a white tank top, and leaned over forward, and she's so muscular, you know, she was kind of sitting like this. And I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. Never thought much else of it. And fast forward probably about 6 months, I would guess, because that was in the summer, and this happened in the winter. I was working in the woods with the Quinns, with John Quinn and John Michael Quinn and Jason Quinn and Joey Quinn, who I'll talk about in another episode. But my second family growing up, you know. I was lucky enough to have a few extra brothers there growing up. And so anyways, I was working in the woods. We were, John Quinn, the father, he would be in cutting wood, and John Jr. would go in and hook up the wood to the tractor with some chains, and he'd drag it out of the woods. And Joey and Jason would block the wood up, and I would stack it. Geez, some of those logs were bigger than me, it seemed. So we were out in Morel Rear one day, working on Trixie Dunn's land and cutting, I think, some hardwood for him and loading up the trailer 3/4 at a time by hand, and that sucked. But anyways, I got home one day, and my brother said, hey, I set up an email account for you. And I said, what the hell is email? This is probably 1998. So anyways, he set up an email account for me. CamMac16 for Brett Hull, my favorite hockey player, at hotmail.com. So he was showing me how to use the email, the computer, because we had a computer in my my dad's little office, and it was dial-up. So when you wanted to use the computer, you had to go in, turn the computer on, and while it was loading up or whatever, you go make yourself some Eggo waffles or 3 hot dogs in the microwave, some Wonder Bread and ranch dressing and pepper on, or make a no-bake cheesecake, or watch your sister make some Nanaimo squares. Something like that, We were lucky growing up. There was always food in the fridge. My dad was very proud of that, because it sounds like he wasn't as lucky growing up. You know how the generational thing works, right? We all try to do a little better for our kids than our parents did for us. Until we spoil one kid so much that they ruin their lives, and cycle swings back into poverty and build it up again, Not every family, but it happens in a lot of families. So anyways, my brother... Man, I'm glad I called this series So Anyways, because now I don't feel so bad saying so anyways. A lot of people say, I say, so anyways. So anyways, the computer loaded up, and he showed me how to use email and how we could message our friends and stuff, and he said, I sent a few emails to our friends from you, for you. And I was going through the list, and I'm like, who's this? And it said ESSEJ48@hotmail.com. And I thought that was pretty cool. I spotted it because it's Pig Latin, and we were big Three Stooges fans, Yuck, yuck, yuck. So it was SEJ48. Now, at that time, the number 48 didn't really mean anything to me. So it ended up being that dude that I saw in that picture. Jesse. He was not a dude. I can vouch for that. I'm going to shut this off. Yeah, I know, I see people. I'm doing this live stream because if I record this, and I won't post it because I will end up trying to watch it to make sure there's nothing stupid in it. And then I won't post it. So I'm just doing it live. I see, there'll be 6 viewers, and then we'll go down to 2, and then we'll go to 8. So I know I'm boring the shit out of some people, but I'm going to try to turn that off. I think I did it. I'm not sure. So my brother had sent an email to SEJ48. And she wrote back a funny email because my brother had wrote, "Hey, I'm Cam, Daryl's brother." At that time, South Park was, they had those 2 little Canadian characters, Terrence and Phillip. So I think he had referenced her as a smelly American or something like that. So my brother sent an email off, and of course, now I know the backstory a little bit behind it, but she was like, who the heck is this? But she wrote back. And at that time, I wasn't so addicted to the internet. And I'm not now either, but for a few years there I was. I think everybody was, and you kind of get your fill of it, maybe. So and she wrote back, and then probably a few weeks later, the next time I got my brother to show me how to use the email again, there was a return email from SEJ48. So I wrote one back to her, and about a month later she wrote back. About a month later I wrote back to her, and so on and so forth, and then it became more frequent. And it was just like a joking around sort of thing. You know, what's it like where you live? Kind of like pen pals, you know? Well, after about a year of this, I became a little bit more interested in Jessie. So I told her that I was going to Boston to visit my cousin, which was a blatant lie. I wasn't going to Boston, but I figured that would be an easy way to say, hey, I'm going to go to Boston to visit my cousin. I should stop by maybe and go have a drink or something, have some supper, or show me around your campus since we've been talking for a year. And she said yes, she went for it. I just thought that would be better than, you know, telling somebody who you'd never seen faced, or even just that one picture. I mean, I don't think she had ever seen what I looked like at that point. And I think that's why things just worked out so well here 20 years later. Who knows? But anyways, so anyways, she said yes. And so then I had to figure out how I was going to get to Boston. So I decided that I would hitchhike. I had a car at the time, but the thoughts of me driving my old Honda Civic to Boston, I guess it never crossed my mind that I would do something like that myself, but I figured I'd go on a little hitchhike adventure, you know? So I packed up a kit bag. I'm in Cardigan, Prince Edward Island, and she's in Haverhill, Massachusetts. It's about 750 miles away, with a border crossing and everything like that. And keep in mind, you know, this is 1998 or 1999. It was before 9/11. Wasn't so hard to get across the border and all that stuff, but so I go out to the end of the driveway. I stick out my thumb, and as luck would have it, the First person that drove by me was John Quinn. Hey, C-Math. You're not late to the show. No way. 26 minutes in, and I'm just getting started. I played the song, but I'll play it again. But this is gonna be a long video because I'm telling the story about how I met my wife, how I come to meet my wife, and move from Prince Edward Island, Canada, to well, now I live in Nashua, New Hampshire, and but how I met my wife and all that kind of stuff. So I was talking about how I set up the internet. My brother set up email for me and started talking back and forth with her, and just to give you the nutshell of it all. So I said I was going to hitchhike to Boston. Well, I said I was going to visit my cousin. Oh, Dover, wow. I figured you were in Nova Scotia or something like that. I love Dover, New Hampshire. Actually, it's one of the places we were thinking about maybe relocating to in a couple years. Or Rochester or Portsmouth area, or maybe even Exeter or something like that. My wife is a school teacher in Derry. Oh, St. Louis, Missouri. I was just saying how my favorite hockey player was Brett Hull. And my email address is, my old email address is cammax16 for Brett Hull. So anyway, yeah, see how I can get sidetracked so easy? St. Louis. I've never been to St. Louis, Missouri, but I'd like to go see that arch one day. I've seen the Golden Arches plenty of times, but never the nice one in St. Louis, right? I've only ever known one person from Missouri. His name was Delton. I worked with him at the shipyard in Rhode Island. Him and I got into a little fist fight. Anyways, that's a story for another video. Where was I here? So anyways, I lied to my now wife, Jessie. I lied and said I was going to Boston, and I wanted to swing by and, stop by and visit. Go out to supper, have a drink or something, go out dancing. But I really wasn't just going for a trip, so I started to hitchhike. And luckily for me, the guy that I had been working in the woods with, cutting wood, he was the first person that drove by, and he hit the brakes. And his exact words were, "Where are you going?" And if you knew him, you'd understand the voice. Biggest hearted guy ever. Thank God for him, John Michael Quinn, or God only knows where I would have ended up as a young fella. "Where are you going?" I said, "New Hampshire." And he said, "New Hampshire?" He was a truck driver. And he used to take us in the truck all the time. We'd go down through Boston or through Ontario, and he'd let us drive the tractor trailer. We were like 12, 13, 14 years old. So I wasn't no stranger to traveling, but so here I'm going to hitchhike to New Hampshire, and I think he said, "You stupid fucker." Pardon my French. He said, "Get the hell back in the house. I'll call you in half an hour." So anyways, he made some phone calls, and he said, "Joe Bishop is going by your house at 6 o'clock tonight. If you want to go, be at the end of your gate at 6 o'clock with your thumb out." So I was. and he never showed up. The load got canceled until the next morning. He was heading to Chelsea in Boston with a load of potatoes. So I got my dad actually the next morning to drive me to Barry McLeod's out in Lorne Valley to meet Joe Bishop, and I got into Joe Bishop's big white Mack tractor trailer. That John Michael Quinn would drive sometimes too. And off we go to Boston. So at this time I was talking to Jesse on the phone here and there, running up some $400 and $500 phone bills, which I probably still haven't paid my dad for. And anyways, I got in that truck and off to Boston we go. And I said to Jesse, we should be there around 9 o'clock tonight. I told Joe where she was, and he said, oh, that's exit 48, down off 495. Tell her to be there at midnight. And so off we go. Or sorry, tell her to be there at 9 o'clock, I think it was. Obviously, like I said, my memory's not the best anymore, so I have a few notes, and I know I'm rambling, but this whole thing is for my daughter, Lyda, and my wife, Jessie, so they'll hopefully appreciate my rambling. Oh, I just saw 48, Lyda. Snap. I'll explain that later, too. But anyways, yeah, be there like 9 o'clock. So we're like an hour away from the place, and Joe Bishop, the truck driver, decides he's tired. So we stopped off at a little truck stop, and he told me to go on into the trucker's lounge. He was going to have a nap, and to come out and wake him up in 3 hours. Hence the line in the song that says she was still there waiting when I was 3 hours late, you know? Yeah. A brown-haired beauty waiting on fate. Down 495 at exit 48. She was still there waiting when I was 3 hours late. Down 495 at exit 48. Exit 48. Exit 48. Yeah, it's early Sunday morning here. Sorry. Not warmed up or anything. Good God. We might have to have a two-parter on this one. I don't know. We'll see. My voice holds out here. So she's sitting there, 9 o'clock rolls around. I didn't have a way to call her. There was no cell phones. To get into a computer, forget it. So I'm sitting in the truck stop thinking, she's sitting there on the side of the road, literally on 495, on the side of 495, because couldn't get off and meet her somewhere, like a restaurant or a parking lot or something like that. It had to be right on the side of the road. So now I go and wake Joe up, and off we go. We still had like an hour's left to go or whatever. And I'm sitting there saying, like, what the hell am I going to do now? You know, I didn't even have her address or anything, and nor did I have probably much money with me or the whereabouts to call a cab to take me to her place. And she was at a college, Bradford College, which I think is now it's part of Harvard, and like that's. I don't even know if I knew that. I probably did, but I don't remember any of that stuff. So we're driving down the road, and he's like, oh, okay, you got a couple more exits here. And so I was getting my stuff ready, and I'm like, well, she's not going to be there no more. I was supposed to be here 3 hours ago, you know. It's friggin' midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. She ain't here. I'm going to get stuck with this guy, and I'll have to sit in the cab and go back to PEI tomorrow. So we're driving down the highway, and he's like, here's the exit. Sure enough, Jeep Grand Cherokee Limited, red with gold trim, right on the side of the road at exit 48. She was still there waiting. And we pulled over, and I don't know why to this day I did this, but I was so shy that instead of like, I guess I always had the mentality of don't hold up the truck drivers. You know, like it's pedal to the metal. You're at point A, and every second between point A and point B, you're wasting if you're not moving forward. That's the mentality. I still have that mentality too. But I learned to calm the F down here once I got into my late 30s and 40s, but yeah, we pulled over, and she jumps right up on the side of the truck. Hi, you know, and I'm getting my stuff together. I'm in the cab, and I'm like, hey, I'll be right there, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Nice to meet you, face to face. And I open the door up and throw my bag down, and off we go. That was the first time I ever met her face to face. When the truck pulled away, we're standing there talking, and well, I just knew that it was her, you know. It's you. It's always been you. You make my heart race. It's you. It's always been you. It keeps a smile on my face. So needless to say, well, needing to say, not needless, how would you know, you know what I'm talking about unless I say it. So anyways, the plan was, that was I think a Thursday or a Friday. It was supposed to be Thursday, but it turned into Friday. So I was supposed to go down there, hang out with her for a couple of nights, and then go off into Boston. I don't know how or what I said, but then I was going to visit my cousin Benny in Boston because my cousin Benny lives in Boston, and I have my Uncle Kenny Lutz, who is a truck driver and drives from PEI to Boston. So I was going to meet up with him on Sunday afternoon and get a ride back to PEI via up to Montreal to drop off some bananas, pick up some tires, and go to PEI. That was the plan. My Uncle Kenny did that for years and years, and luckily I got to go on a few trips with Uncle Kenny. He's an awesome guy. So Sunday rolls around, and I have I put my fingers together, and the amount that I could just barely separate them by, like to the point where they're just barely touching, that's about how much interest I had in leaving Jesse and going home with my Uncle Kenny. So, needless to say, I was a no-show in Boston. But Kenny had to leave, and I didn't. I was just told, be at such and such place Sunday afternoon in Boston, and that's where he'll be, because, like I said, no cell phones. So I never showed up, and apparently he waited for me for a little while, too, which I still feel bad about, because I was just, the saying, young, dumb, and full of no brains. And I think it's a rhyme, but no brains probably is better. So eventually he had to leave, I did get a hold of him, or he got a hold of me, or something. Long distance phone calls, I mean, they're like $1 something a minute, and I didn't have any way to pay for them. You kidding me? I was young and broke, which is a lot better than being old and broke, I'll tell you that much. I'll take the young and broke over being old and broke. They both suck, but the old and broke one, fuck, it's stressful. Anyways, that'll be another story. And so I lined it up for the following weekend to meet up with Kenny. So I stayed down with Jesse for 11 days, I think it was. And it was Valentine's Day in there somewhere. I think it was like the Tuesday. And that's kind of why I wanted to stay, because I wanted to do all the foolish young lover stuff, like get roses and stuff like that. And I remember I did that because I went in across the border to New Hampshire to a grocery store, and I got like some of her favorite foods. Like I bought a bunch of groceries for her and some roses. Because at that point I didn't know that she loved sunflowers. I bought those for her later, but like she had a sunflowers on her comforter at the school, but I was too stupid to pick up on anything like that. So there we were, falling in love. So the following week I met up with my Uncle Kenny, and we got severely drunk. I guess I should say I got severely drunk, because he was a truck driver, and truck drivers aren't allowed to drink, right? So anyways, I was severely drunk, and I had made a promise to Jessie that I would call her somehow before the night was out to let her know that I made it to Boston to meet my uncle, just to let her know that I was okay. And well, I didn't do that until like 2 o'clock in the morning, because, if I'm awake, everybody in the world should be awake. And I remember hearing the sadness in her voice, like that she thought something must have happened to me that I didn't call. And that was the first time she ever said to me, she said, "I don't care what you do or where you go, just always let me know that you're okay." And I always have. And she always has to, for me, It's good communication. It's worked good for us. Because I told her when we got married, there can only be one boss, and you're not it. And I'm not it. You just have to, I think, just respect each other and realize that intentions are all good. And what else matters? As long as everybody's happy, who gives a shit? So anyways, like I said earlier, I had to take some notes because not sure how long my memory's going to be functional here. So as love lingers on, sorry, I gotta shut this notification off here. Stephen Baker, 1017. Sorry, buddy, I just saw that comment there now. So as love lingers on, I ended up staying down for 11 days instead of the 2 days. And over the next year, and a lot of expensive phone calls later, she was in her 3rd year of university, and somebody was embezzling money out of it. So it was getting closed down. So she had planned on either going to Scotland or Prince Edward Island, to the University of Prince Edward Island, UPEI, to finish her last year of university. So she obviously chose PEI because of me, right? I bet there's been a lot of days since then she wished she had went to Scotland. Anyways, she finished her last year of university at UPEI. And I practically lived in there. Met some nice people. Jason Connellan, Sean Joyce, who is, well, I can't tell you what Jason does, but Sean is a head golf pro at Mill River Golf Course. And we had some good adventures, going out in the boat off Lower Montague. Okay, stay on track here. Let's go. So Jessie finished up her last year at UPEI, and after that, we used to meet halfway in St. John, New Brunswick, or in Bangor. We'd kind of go back and forth because there was no exact halfway place to meet for a long weekend sort of thing. We'd do that like once a month, and I think we did that for about a year. And then I had given her a promise ring. But I remember standing out on the porch at her parents' place in Wilton, New Hampshire, one cold winter night that I had gone down all the way to visit. And I said to her, we need to do one of two things. We either need to break up or get married. What do you want to do? And without taking a breath, she said, let's get married. And I'll admit I was shocked, but also very happy. So we were engaged. Sort of. I had given her a promise ring anyways. At this time, she was working at a candle factory, because not a lot of jobs out there for contemporary artists slash dancers. And I was working at the shipyard in Georgetown, learning how to be a welder. I believe. Yeah. So, a few months later, I had gone down to New Hampshire. All these things that I'm saying, they're not perfect order. I should have probably done some research and had some actual dates and stuff, but as I remember it, lots of jobs for dancers. Yeah, they're cash. Not that kind of dancer, though. So I bought an engagement ring and went to New Hampshire in my little white Honda Accord. So I planned on, one time she had taken me up this mountain, which I come from PEI. We don't have mountains. There's hills, no ski areas or anything like that. You might find a good hill to go tobogganing on, but other than that, there's nothing much really there. So she had taken me up this little mountain called Packmanadnock in Temple, New Hampshire. And that was the first time I think I was ever up that high, maybe. Except for maybe when I worked out in Alberta before that. But so I wanted to go back to that place and propose to give her the ring. And it was, I only had, I would work at the shipyard in Georgetown. I convinced them to let me go on the night shift, and I could work 3 12-hour shifts and a 4-hour shift. And then I'd leave from Georgetown, even though I was going past my own house, I would leave from there and drive right to Wilton, New Hampshire, which is, if you fly, you can do it in 10.5 hours if you don't stop. But it's mostly like a 12, 13, 14-hour drive for most people who take 2 seconds to stop at a gas station to use the bathroom, rather than using a Gatorade bottle or something like that. So I'm saying, let's go back up that mountain. And she's like, well, it's raining and it's foggy. We won't see anything. I'm like, I just like to drive up the road, She's like, well, let's wait till next time you're down and we'll go up there. And I'm like, no, we have to go today. I really want to go. Let's go. So I had to kind of convince her, because it made zero sense to go up to the top of a mountain. I mean, it was a rainy, miserable, foggy day. So finally, I convinced her to take me up there. And there's a little hut up there at the trailhead, one of the trails, and we were sitting there, and I just kind of opened the ring box and showed it to her, and I said, you really want to get married to me? And that was it. So then we had to start the fiancé petition process. And that was in May. Sorry, I got a little sidetracked there thinking about a Stan Rogers song, The Blue Nose. Once again, with the tide, she slips her lines, turns her head and comes awake. She lay so still there at Privateer's Wharf, she quickly gathers waves. She will range far south from the harbor mouth, rejoice with every wave. Who will know the blue nose in the sun? So I have ADHD or ADD. I must have ADHD because I can ADD like a mofo. I've always been good at math. So I must have the ADHD. So we're engaged. And that was in May, and we were doing paperwork. And one of the things was I had to go to Montreal to the American consulate with paperwork to drive all the way to Montreal. So my brother and I headed off to Montreal. ADHD is add is the old. Oh, okay. Good to know. Thank you, Stephen. You are one smart bugger. So my brother and I headed off to Montreal late in the fall. And I remember standing on the street corner in Laval with a silver suitcase. And the cops came up to me and wanted to see what was in the suitcase. I'm just making this up. So all I had in there was my immigration paperwork, but I looked like I had a bomb in the case or something, apparently. So my brother and I stayed in Montreal for the night, I believe. And then on the way home, I'll never forget it because we were flying in a rental car. And we crested over the top of the hill, and we met the cops. I was doing 159 kilometers an hour, so he said. And he pulled me over, and I've always had a little touch of the I don't give a shit. And I was so stupid and cocky that I said to the cop, well, I'm glad you didn't see how fast I was going at the bottom of the hill. Like I was climbing the hill, so 159 meeting him at the top. So, I mean, I had a run on for this hill. And license, registration, blah, blah, blah. He comes back and he's at first he was gonna give us a warning until I said, oh, I don't care. Yeah, right? So this is the worst part, Steve. And I said, I don't care. I'm moving to the United States in a week. You can make that fine out for as much as you want because I'll never pay it. And my brother reached over and punched me in the leg, and he leaned forward and he said, you have to forgive my brother, officer. He is a little bit stupid. He's just a little bit stupid. So, because my brother and I, we were no strangers to the law. Like, we avoided or evaded the law many times. And I don't know why I would ever say that. So then he said, "You stay right here." And he went back to the car. And he brought me back a speeding fine for, I think, $359 it came to. Which back then was like getting a $1,000 ticket would be today. I still have the fine. I still have the paperwork. I never paid it. It was somewhere in New Brunswick. Somewhere in New Brunswick, I owe a lot of money and interest. But I will say that was 20 years ago, so I never paid that fine, and I don't know, maybe there's a warrant out for my arrest in New Brunswick, for all I know. So we got back to PEI, and now it was time that I could move to New Hampshire. The wedding date was set for October 26th, 2002. Got a V-pick here now. If you don't have a V-pick, look them up. I love them. V as in Vicky, pick as in pick. So I'm all set to move to the USA in my little white Honda Accord. And the border tells me, you can't import that car in here. It doesn't have automatic seatbelts. So I had to sell my car. And I had a day to sell it. And I sold it to my stepbrother. This chair sucks. I sold it to my stepbrother, Evan Beck, who has since hung himself. No joke. But I don't think it was because of the car. So he got the car, and I got $2,200 in cash. And I had no car. I thought I'd buy one when I got to the States. The other thing I didn't realize is when you move to the States, you have no credit. In Canada, on PEI, I had a little bit of credit going, At this point, I was 23, 24 years old. I had a few car loans and whatnot. So I'm like, I'll just get a new car when I get there. Well, fail. So anyways, my brother and Dion Macbeth drove me to Rhode Island. Can't find that stupid note now. Where is it? My brother and Dion Macbeth, I rented a van, and they came with me, and they drove back the rental van. I moved to the United States with 2 hockey bags of clothes and $183. Because little did I know the immigration process cost me just about $8,000. And at 23 years old, that was just about every friggin' cent I had. Nothing like starting a new life with, I had a job to go to, and I went to the job. I was there a week, and the secretary, Palomina, called me in and said, yeah, your social security number doesn't exist. And I'm like, no, it does. She said, well, I can't find it. And I gave it to her, and she's like, oh, that's a Canadian social security number. And I'm like, yeah. She said, you need an American social security number. You can't work here until you get one. So that was middle of October. Well, I didn't know it takes about 3 months to get a social security number. So for the next 3 months, I sat in a little apartment in Johnston, Rhode Island. Thank God, about a week before I moved to the States, I had asked my Uncle Burnley, hey, I want to learn how to play the guitar. Can you come into Charlottetown with me and help me pick out a cheap guitar that might be not too hard to play or whatever? So he did. He came in, and we picked out an Art and Lutherie, all solid cedar guitar. I still have it. I should have used it today, actually, probably. I really should have. Damn. And that's where I started noodling around and trying to write songs and all that kind of stuff. Which is another story I'll get into later here, but I'll try to wrap this up here, going on 68 minutes. And so thankfully I had a guitar, but didn't. I mean, we had a 13-inch little TV. Oh, really? Art and Lutherie Parlor? I've had a couple of those in the past, and personally, I know not everybody loves Art and Lutherie. I've had 4 or 5 of them over the years, and I've have no complaints with them, especially my cedar one. It's the first guitar I ever bought. I mean, I had one guitar before that, a Farrington, that I had traded for a car, which will be in another video. I'll explain that one. That's how I got my first guitar, was traded it for a car that I had with 2 fellows from Cape Breton. 2 brothers from Cape Breton. I wish I could, yeah, at a party. They were playing the guitar, they were stranded, and we made a deal. So I had a guitar, and I had a 13-inch TV, and that was about it. And Jessie would go to work. She worked at a daycare down there. So I was alone all day by myself with no car and bloody fingertips trying to learn how to play the guitar. But before that, the wedding, October 23rd, 2002. I apparently had told my wife that when we get married, I wanted to play and sing a guitar, like a song, at our wedding. Well, I had said that like 6 months before, and you know, I'm moving to the States. Like, I could play the Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. That was the first song I ever learned to play. The legend lives on from the Chippewa on down to the big lake they call Kitchagumi. The lake, it is said, never gives up her dead when the skies of November turn gloomy. With a load of iron ore 26,000 times more than the Edmund Fitzgerald weighed empty. The good ship and crew were a bone to be chewed when the skies of November came early. that was the first song. I'll talk more about that later. But so at that point, when I was trying to play the Edmund Fitzgerald, it was more like this. I'm not kidding. That's where I was at. And I'm not much further now, but muscle memory, you know? That's the way I play. Hey, it's where you got to start somewhere, right? I can't believe you're still watching this, C-Math. Can you tell me your first name? Is that okay? Or a nickname or something. Carl. I have a cousin, Carl McMaster. Combed his hair with a frying pan. Tough son of a bee. Carl Matheson. Carl Matheson. Math is short for my last name. I just assumed Matheson. No clue. My daughter just texted me. 10:48, snap. Thanks, Lida. Well, she's not watching. She doesn't know I'm doing this. Oh, Mateus. Mateus, is that... Or do you say Matthias? I think it's Mateus, right? Sonny lives on a farm, on a wide open space. You can take off your sneakers and give up the race. You can lay down your head on a soft riverbed. Sonny home, Matthias. Okay, cool. Carl Matthias. Nice to meet you. I'm Ben Dovier. Bend over if you say it in English. Dover, since you're from Dover. Anyways, where the hell was I? What was I saying here? So I said I'm going to sing a song at my wedding. Gosh darn it. What a stupid thing to say. I kind of forgot about it. So I get down to the United States. I hope that coffee wasn't old. No, I think that today's one? It's yesterday's. It's not good. I think all the caramel settled to the bottom. It tasted like sour Frosted Flakes or something. Sour corn pops. So I finally got to Rhode Island before I moved to New Hampshire, and I see the things they had printed out. I never helped with shit. I said, we'll get married, and that's why I shouldn't add shit to your coffee. You're right. I'm not going to anymore. I'm going to drink it black. I'm gonna. So, it's a good point, Stephen. My wife drinks her coffee black, and I take a taste of it from time to time, and I like it. But I am addicted to sugar. Hence, the fatness, you know? This mild obesity of mine. That song's called Mild Obesity. So I see the wedding program, whatever you call them, with all the information on it. Because I had said, I'm moving to another country, so you and your mother can do all this planning and pay for everything. That's kind of a joke, but that's actually the way it went down. So it says music, original song sang by Cam McMaster. And I said, oh shit, I better write a song. So I had a song that I had started writing before that, but really, I wasn't really planning on doing it, you know. And so I was left with the I had like the morning of the wedding, sitting in a hotel room with my brother Daryl, my stepbrother Derek Beck, my at the time best friend Jason Quinn, and our cousin Dion Macbeth, who is a friggin' amazing guitar player. I think one of the best I've ever seen, like J.P. Cormier good kind of thing, you know? And him and I were sitting down eating a steak and cheese sub, like this is like 10 o'clock in the morning, steak and cheese sub, and finishing the song, which I don't even think I could remember how to play anymore. But this thing here, this song is the one I first started to write. Whenever I see you, I just want to hold you always. Whenever I'm with you, there's nothing I won't do for you. I just want to be with you forever and always. Just want to be with you forever and always, forever and always, forever and always. I forgot that I have the guitar tuned down a whole step and with a capo on, so it's just actually tuned down a half step. And I was messing up there. And I tried to disguise it by pretending to cry. Because everything I do on the guitar is kind of by memory. And I don't have a good memory. So we finished writing the song. which kind of something like that. But Dion played the guitar with my Art and Luthery guitar, and he made the friggin' guitar. He basically took a piece of dog crap song, and he played the guitar on it so beautifully that like people were crying, and it wasn't because of the lyrics, but he played that, man. He had it in a drop D, and oh, frig, it was awesome. So in another episode, I'm going to find that song. It's on a little 8mm videotape. Hopefully it's still around. Our whole wedding. I'm going to find the song, and I'm going to learn it. That's what I'm going to do. So we finished writing the song, Eating a Steak and Cheese Sub. I threw up. Because I was probably nervous. And off we go to the church, learning the song on the way. But like I said, Dion, luckily, my God, thank God Dion came and played the guitar. That was the second trip to Rhode Island he made with me, because my dad and his girlfriend, Ethel Beck, at the time, and her son Derek Beck came down, as well as Jason Quinn, my best friend at the time, who I haven't talked to in about 5 years now. That's another episode. And my sister Sue, Zan, and at the time her boyfriend Jeff Matheson, and he, by fluke, videotaped our wedding. I had my video camera, and he was there, and he videotaped the friggin' wedding. Videotaping before the wedding and after, because after the wedding, Jesse and I went. We didn't go on a honeymoon. We have still not been on a honeymoon. But my plan is, and Jesse, now that you're watching this, hopefully, we got to go to Paris. That's where I always wanted to take you. So hopefully we did that. Been to the mouth of the ocean, and I've had the notion to swim home to you. I swear it's the truth. I've been to the depths of the valley, and all of its beauty, echoes of you. The echoes ring true. For all of my life, I'll find my way back to you. I've traveled these roads, they all led right back to you. This love won't rust, won't cover with dust for you. For all of my life, I've been loving you. An old man once told me a story about in his glory what he had been through, and things he didn't do. He said, love with your heart and speak what's on your mind. These are the keys to the locks you'll find. It's true. And love will follow you. For all of my life, I'll find my way back to you. I've traveled these roads, they all led right back to you. This love won't rust, won't cover with dust for you. For all of my life, for all my life, for all my life, I was loving you. So, from there, the wedding's done, and the honeymoon, like I said, still hasn't happened, but we've been in a lot of places, you know. Yeah, we got to go a lot of places over the years, and gonna make one more trip to Florida at the end of February. And then off we go to Rhode Island, where we lived for a year, and I hated it. So in a nutshell, and this will be, I'm going to end this here thing here now. We're at an hour and a half. And in a nutshell, we spent a year in Rhode Island. I'm going to talk to Jessie and see what she remembers about that. I just remember working at the shipyard down there, and I worked at the shipyard down there, and then I would drive up to New Hampshire on the weekends and weld for guys on a rock crusher, who I still weld for, and who I thoroughly blame for, well, I'm not blaming them for anything. 20 years later, I still weld for the same people I started welding for. That's a pretty cool thing to be able to say. And they've always treated me fairly, and I've always tried to do the same. So we lived in Rhode Island for the year and then moved to New Hampshire, to Nashua, New Hampshire. In a nutshell, if you're Carl and Stephen, if you're still here, in a nutshell, because you stuck around this long, I'm gonna end that right there. But that's how I met my wife. But in a nutshell, going forward, I'm gonna go back and revisit the younger stuff. They always cheated me fairly. Yeah, you could probably say that too, but that's my fault. I never, ever, ever wanted to get a bad reputation, and at the my own paranoia, at the expense of my own paranoia, if I did a job for somebody that took me 6 hours, I would charge them 4, and I was cheaper than the other guys around me. So they could never say like, "Oh, he's too expensive," or "Oh, it took him too long," or I've cheated myself out of a lot of money probably, but I have my name. I still do work for the same people. I'm still alive. Yeah, I could be a lot better off financially, probably. There's no doubt about that. But whatever. This is the way she goes. I'd rather have friends than money, right? No, that's fine, girl. I enjoy when people comment and stuff too. It's usually maybe 1-2 people per episode, but it's I love it. And when people ask questions and stuff, a few years ago I had this. I only have like a few hundred subscribers, but a few years ago, the videos I took them all down now. But I had on another channel, I had it built up really good, and like there'd be 100 people watching sometimes, and it was awesome. I loved it, and maybe I'll turn that into another story. But that all, well, don't put your fate in the hands of others. Is all I say, and pick very carefully who you trust to work with on things. So anyways, like I said, I'll end it here, but going forward, basically, like quick notes, were moved to New Hampshire in 2003. In 2005, we were having a baby, and my landlord sold the house we were living in because we were renting a place, and the people who moved in, like, it was a 2-family house. Like, we were on the top floor, and the guy who owned the house was on the bottom, and then he sold it to some people, and they were jackhammering out the basement floor and ripping the attic apart. So it was going to now be 4 levels of people, and there was like a lot of people around, and I didn't understand their language. Nice people, but loud, and a lot of parties and stuff. And Jessie called me into the bathroom one morning, and she said, "Hey, what do you think of this?" And it's a pregnancy stick, and I'm like, "Oh, what's it mean?" She's like, "We're gonna have a baby." And I said, "Call your grandmother, who is a realtor." And I said, let's get the fuck out of here right quick. And so we bought our first house in 2006. Fast forward to... No, not fast forward. Jessie's pregnant. We buy the house, and 2 months later, Lida, you were born. And I got hurt at work. I had my shoulder pretty much torn out of its socket, and worse. Picking up, those thing, like you see a little skinny guy picking a half-ton truck up off of somebody, was one of those things. I picked up a 3-section cast iron Badaris boiler, which weighs, a couple or a few hundred pounds, but I don't know what even what it weighs, but I picked it up off a guy after it fell on him going down the stairs with it, and it was an adrenaline thing, and it just ripped my shoulder apart. So then I had to have 2 major shoulder surgeries back to back. I was off work for 18 months, and Lida, our baby, Lida girl, was just born, and that was the beginning of the end of that first house. We hung on for a long time, but it went sour. I think we pushed the reset button. You have to rip the Band-Aid off at some point, It was, I think it was right around 2008, 2009, when everybody was losing their houses and stuff. So having a lot of my friends down here was really horrible. But yeah. So fast forward 2013, back-to-back hand surgeries. Well, that started off a whole new. That was 2013. That's 10 years ago. And I'll tell you what, that started me off on a path that I am still on today. And you can take that for whatever you want to think it means. Hopefully I'll be brave enough to talk about it someday in the future, but I'm gonna have to in the next year or so, anyways. But hopefully I'll have time to do that. And 2013, 2023, here I am. Why do I play music and do this foolishness? I guess for fun right now. I'm not good enough to be anybody, and I'm not anybody to be good. So I just enjoy doing this. I'm just leaving these memories here for my wife, daughter, brother, sister, family, friends, whoever wants to see them. These are my stories of cool things that happened to me in my life that, unless they're written down or done in a vlog, then when I'm gone, the stories and songs are gone. And I just wanted you to have them in case you ever start playing and singing someday, because you play the guitar great, and your voice is so friggin' good and unique, and I hope you get the bug sometime like I did, just to be able to share that with people, because they would love to hear it. But I never wanted to force you into doing anything. I hope you never felt that way. We were actually talking about that just the other day, about all the soccer and field hockey and swimming and gymnastics, all the stuff that you did that, we made available to you, but never made you do or made you stay at it, So anyways, I'll end things up right there for today. Carl, I appreciate you always watching all my videos and commenting on them, and I know you watch them right to the end, and it's amazing. I appreciate it a lot. And I do like when you make comments and stuff, for sure. And same, Stephen Baker. You're usually kicking around, man. I appreciate it, man. Well, thank you, Carl. I'm glad. I just am who I am. I forget to say some things, and some things I say twice, and some things I probably shouldn't say, but it's just the way I am, I wish I were down on some old bayou with the bamboo cane stuck in the sand. But the road I'm on don't seem to go there. I'll just dream, keep on being the way I am. The way I am don't fit my shackles. The way I am, reality, I can almost see that bobber dancing, and I'll just dream, keep on being back some things. I'm getting better at it, though. I'm not used to this anymore, so. But yeah, Stephen Baker, I appreciate your support too, buddy. I really do. Always a comment and a nice thing to say, and fellas like yourself are rare. I freaking appreciate it. I'm looking forward to getting a chance to have a ginger ale with you there in May. You come down to Boston. Because I appreciate your humor and I appreciate what you do every week on string theory. Because you do what I used to do when I could do it. What I used to do is in the pandemic, at the first of it all, before I ever knew who you were and vice versa, I used to play on like Tip Jar and stuff like that. And any money that I would get from it, or any money I got from CDs or anything like that, I decided I would pick an artist who was a real artist, music artist, and would take that money and give it to them. So every time I'd get some weeks $10, some weeks $100, I'd give it to JP in a super chat, and that was when he couldn't tour or do anything, and that's what I did, because at that time I was able to still keep working through the pandemic, and so that's what I did, and I did it as long as I could do it, and then I got sick and I haven't played or earned any money from anything. But yeah, that being said, I know, like, well, I'm guessing, because in my head I'm like, Jesus, people, come on, do the super chats, keep this thing going, like, let's help, and I see that you do that same thing, so mad respect if you're even still here watching this. Mama told me when I was young, come sit beside me, my only son. Listen closely to what I say. If you do this, it'll help you. Well, some sunny day, oh yeah, she said. Boy, take your time, don't live too fast. Troubles will come now, and they will pass. Go find a woman, and you'll find love. Don't forget that there is a someone up above. Baby, be a simple kind of man. I'll be something you'll love and understand. Baby, be a simple kind of man. Won't you do this for me, son, if you can? Oh yeah, she said. find your lust for the rich man's gold. That line, I don't know, I just hear my mother saying these things to me if she were still alive, you know? Don't lust after anything that anybody else has. Because if you take it from them, then they won't have it. Yeah. And be a simple kind of man, or be a something you love and understand. Maybe be a simple, or be a simple man. Won't you do this for me, son, if you can? All that I want from you, my son, is to be satisfied and be a simple kind of man. I'll be a something you love and understand. Oh, baby, be a simple man. Won't you do this for me, son, if you can? Won't you do this for me, son, if you can? Won't you do this for me, son? An hour and 10 minutes. Sorry, 110 minutes? Oh, what the hell is that? 110 minutes? 90 minutes, hour and a half? Yes, an hour and 40 minutes. Yeah. Well, Carl, appreciate it, man. Thanks for watching, sticking around so long. Stephen Becker, Sunday. Yeah, Carl, you watch String Theory, so you know who Stephen Baker is. Everybody knows who Stephen Baker is. Right on. I thought so. Okay, so that was a long one. That's the longest one I ever did, I think. So now I'm gonna go home and have some lunch with the girls and chill for the rest of the day. Hope you guys have a good day. Thanks for watching. If I haven't told you so, I do appreciate it. It's nice to know there's one person here. I'm not just talking to the camera aimlessly. But, all right, Carl, take care. Thank you. I appreciate it. Maybe someday get to have a coffee or something. And Steve Baker, if you're still here, hope to see you in May, buddy. Lida, Jesse, love you guys. And you were always on my mind, right? You're always on my mind. You're always on my mind. Snap. Look, remember these? Remember those hands? Welding is a great career, but it's not. Anyways, love you.